Okay, Erev Tov everybody, we are mitzvah Ayin Zayin, mitzvah number 77. Shelo yelech echad min hadayanin, achar da'at dayan echad gadol, או אפילו אחר דעת הרוב, על צד שיאמיnehu לחיוב או לזיכוי, מבלי שיהיה הדבר מובן אצלו בשכלו. Okay, what does this mean? This means that a judge who is serving a capital case cannot just follow another great judge because he trusts him. You know what? I don't feel like doing all the research. You know what? The Baba Sali is on this Beit Din. If he says he's guilty, he's guilty, right? Who am I to argue with the Baba Sali? And you just follow whatever he says without doing any research. Again, that could be to convict or to acquit. Either way, unless he understands that there's on his own that there's a reason to call this guy guilty. And if the decision hinges upon a law based on a scriptural decree, or by a gzera shava or a kesh, which is some of the ways that we are able to derive Torah, it's required that the judge himself know it, and not rely upon one of the judges or the majority. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, "Velo ta'aneh al riv lintot." Do not declare with regard to a grievance by following. Rotze lomar, lo tomar al hariv davar lintot. You, the judge, shall not declare your position regarding a grievance, okay, by standing something that is following. Kelomar mitzad hanetiyah levad, something that is following the opinion of another. Achar divrei dayan echad gadol, whether words of a great judge, or achar harov, or the majority of judges, velo mitzad havanatecha, when it's not a result of your own understanding. Or maybe you do have a clear opinion, but you wish to remain silent with what you feel. And follow the words of others. Lo ta'aseh chen, do not do so. Now, this word, velo ta'aneh al riv, okay, the word riv is a grievance. Ulshon mechilta, the Midrash says, lo ta'aneh al riv lintot, okay, it's the word riv in the Torah, even though riv means like an argument and a fight, but in the Torah it's spelled without a yud. It's spelled reish bet. The yud's not there. Shelo tomar, which also can be pronounced as Rav, right? Which is a teacher. Shelo tomar dayi sheyeh kerav ploni. That a person should not say, it's enough for me to be like this Rav, like this rabbi. I don't need to vote for my own decision. Ela emor ma shelefanecha, just state your own opinion and what you see. That's the law. Yachol af dinei mamamot ken. Now you might think that the same applies with monetary cases. Tamud lomar acharei rabim lehatot. That's why the end of the pasuk says you shall follow the majority. That this prohibition is only specifically to severe situations or capital cases and not monetary cases. Okay. Ubazeh alav atzmo knichlal, including this mitzvah. Shamlamed zechut bedinei nefashot. If a judge is that a judge who advances an argument for acquittal, lo yachzor vilamed chova, cannot change his argument to that of conviction. It's seen in the words, do not declare upon a grievance by turning. Your word should not turn him from acquittal to conviction. Similarly, we don't open deliberations in capital cases for conviction. And the explanation also from these words, your opening words should not be to turn the defendant turn him towards conviction.
That's in the Goisha law also. But once
he
is not guilty.
All right, okay, good. Because we're forced to explain at the beginning of the deliberations regarding the case, since it's impossible to say that the pasuk forbids declaring an argument for conviction at any point of the case. If that was the case, you'd never find anybody that ever convicted. So clearly this pasuk has to be talking about opening with conviction. We also learn a prohibition. We don't begin the deliberations with the greatest of the chacham. Rather, the least eminent judge begins. Again, for the same reason, because if the Baba Sali starts, then I'm not arguing with Baba Sali. Okay, so you're gonna be embarrassed. You start with the lowest guy first, which is a lot of pressure, if you ask me. You're like the lowest guy. All the great chachamim are listening to you and what you have to say.
Antecedents apply in the Bedin.
Is it today?
Like in the our civil. If it's unnecessary, they go back to it.
Yeah, well, I know. Again, this will only apply in capital cases. But today, I don't know. You have a small bedin of 3 people. I think they do. I think they probably come up with their own what they feel the opinion is, and they discuss it among themselves, and they try to sway towards one side. That's how I think it goes. Also, you shall not respond upon a grievance. Kemo al rav can also be mad. You should not respond to a master. Again, because it's written without a yud. Don't respond to the preeminent judge, the master. Rather, he shall respond to you. You speak first. The reason is so that the other judges should not rely upon the big judge when issuing their ruling. All these matters are derived from this pasuk. By the way, this is a very long mitzvah, so we're not going to finish all today. It's also possible by learning this through the wisdom of the Torah, which is possible that we see many times. You learn many things from one phrase. What the Chachamim said in the Midrash, Shivim Panim La Torah. There are 70 facets to the Torah. Because God knows that the nation that has accepted the Torah, that's Am Yisrael, by virtue of following the path that they've been commanded, would be qualified to receive wisdom and understanding. As a result of that understanding, they would perceive the Torah, all that is required to administer things in the world, to make sure the world runs correctly. He left certain things covered and veiled in Scripture, and we only learn them through allusions. But he transmitted the explanation to them orally. By the great intermediary who was none other than Moshe Rabbeinu. God did not set out the laws of the Torah with more expansive phraseology. Because the Torah's words are fixed and essential for them to be in their count and exact form. So if the word riv is without a yud, it's for this reason, to teach me about this whole thing with the rabbi. For aside for the direct implications of the commandments, which we understand by simply reading it, there is included in the words of Torah great glorious wisdom, to the extent that we see all of this wisdom in the Torah. For they stated that God looked in the Torah, and from that He created the world. Next time, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll continue with this mitzvah.